I'm Mike Adams. I'm president of Moog Music, and I'm here to introduce our chief engineer, Cyril Lance. Cyril's been with the company since 2005, and basically handpicked by Bob to come in here and to carry on the legacy of Moog Music and our design of new products. And this one today is one of the more special ones, and we're very excited that you're all here. So I want to ask Cyril to come up and talk a little bit about the accomplishment, and it's been an amazing effort, and I think you will all be pretty excited with what you see. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to just point out one thing before we start, that my title is Chief Engineer, which means public speaking is not my forte, so bear with me. And I'm also a tired engineer, so it's going to be even more challenging. But first of all, I want to thank all of you folks for being part of this festival. It's an incredible way to not only honor the legacy of Bob, which is kind of the main mission of our company, but also the larger things that Bob represented, and I think that we're all inspired by art and technology and creativity and the power of that in who we are as people and culture and society. So I'm really excited that you all are here. When talking about Bob's legacy, one of the cornerstones of his legacy was working with and listening to musicians and trying to develop the tools that those musicians needed, and there was a great symbiosis in that relationship, and that's been going on from the very beginning of Bob's work. And again, we feel very strongly about that relationship, and we're very blessed to have those relationships with artists all around the world of all different types of music that help us inform the kind of tools we make, and not only helping them create the tools that they want, but also hopefully inspiring them to hear new possibilities in their art and creativity. So this project kind of represents those larger inspirations and kind of goals of who we are as a company, and why we do a festival like this. This year marks the 50th anniversary, 1964, of an incredible collaboration that started between Bob Moog and Herb Deutsch up in Trumansburg, New York, when Bob was first starting out his company up there, developing his first concepts of electronic synthesis. And we are very, very honored to have Herb Deutsch here at the festival, and he's an incredible human being. And I want to do my best Vanna White here. And we're also very, very fortunate to have Keith Emerson here, and this is Keith's Modular System. And it's got an incredible history, but the genesis of this synthesizer really starts, the story of it starts in 1964 with the collaboration between Herb and Bob. And rather than me doing a lot of talking, I'd like to bring up Herb to say a few words and to talk a little bit about your collaboration with Bob, but also your relationship to this particular instrument.
Okay. Well, very briefly, of my collaboration with Bob, yes, we did work together. It was June 1964, and we did work with the idea of creating what would be a music synthesizer. We used the name synthesizer, but that was the whole basis of that argument. We developed the first instrument at that point, and the prototype I had for quite a while, and eventually gave the prototype to the Henry Ford Museum, which is the Museum of American Technology, which is very exciting. The thing that I just wanted to mention about the modular instrument is that I had a concert to give at the Museum of Modern Art in July of 1969, and Bob wanted to design a modular instrument that I could use as a kind of a lead instrument. I had a quartet, and my polyphonic instrument player was the great Hank Jones, who is one of the great jazz musicians of the Jones family, by the way, if you're into jazz. But the day before the concert, we still didn't have the modular instrument ready to go. And it was an absolutely last-minute, nerve-breaking thing to have booked this concert at the Museum of Modern Art. And it was ready, the instrument was ready, and the concert went on. And I would say that anybody who was there or within 2 or 3 blocks of the Museum of Modern Art, because it was outdoor concert and it was 1969, and I won't say any more than that. It was a beautiful concert, and it smelled great too. The basic modular synthesizer was built, and certainly not for me, because it was built really for that concert. That was the start of this modular instrument, which then ended up as the great Keith Emerson's main instrument, and then continued to grow and grow, both musically and socially and in every way. Thank you.
It is a huge thrill for us to have friends like Herb and Keith and all the artists for the year come to the factory. And Herb, I learned something new. I just realized there's another tradition that Herb touched on that we're continuing here at Moog, which is, getting it to work the night before the concert. I have to attest that. I have plenty nights like that too. Yeah. As Herb said, in 1969, this actual instrument was created as this part right here was the actual synthesizer that was at the 1969 MoMA concert. And Bob had created a special ability of it to do presets. As most of you know, programming an analog synthesizer is kind of an art into itself, and it involves many, many knobs and chords, and the idea was to be able to recall a sound. So you can touch that. But it's got presets, though. I'm going to get myself in trouble. I probably already am. But, at the same time, Keith, who I'm going to actually let tell the story, was really looking for a way to use the analog synthesizers in his performance. And rather than me talk about that, I want to introduce someone you guys all know is Keith Emerson. Yeah.
Well, it's great to be here, of course, and I think this creation that Bob Moog came up with, I think it transformed music forever, actually. I don't know of any sort of, well, first of all, I hate the name progressive rock, but there are loads of prog bands, all over the world. Internationally, like in Japan and Germany, you name it, and all of them aspire to have this instrument, I know that there are, a lot of my contemporaries, like John Lord, who sadly is no longer with us. I think he was reluctant to use one, mainly because I'd used one. And we all wanted to be different. But my introduction to the Moog was, I think, around about 1969. And I'd had a band called The Nice. What a horrible name for a band. It was, you know, like often referred to the nice what. But anyway, that's the name that kind of stuck. And so we actually had a few, we had a big hit with a thing called America, based upon Leonard Bernstein's piece from West Side Story, and incorporated with Dvorak's World Symphony. And so, yeah, I thought that'd be rather clever. And we got ourselves into a little bit of trouble because I don't want to get into too many details here, but I think most of you know the story about there was a lot going on over here in America, and we decided to portray it in our arrangement. I think really it was an attempt to go about the way that Bob Dylan did his lyrics, and you know, rejecting what was going on in the world and everything like that. And I was pretty young, but after America came out, and that was you know, the actual single, there was a huge success actually in England. And our next record with The Nice was based upon Bach's Brandenburg Concerto No. 3 in G, and it did well enough. Got to about 15 in the British charts, I think. And I happened to walk into a record store in London's Soho, and the record store owner recognised who I was, and he said, "Listen to this." And he put this music on, and I said, "Wow, who is that?" You know, and he showed me the record cover, and I was fascinated. I said, "You sure that this music is coming out of that picture?" Yeah, and that was, of course, Wendy Carlos and Switched on Bach. And I went, "Wow, I've got to get one of these." So I was due to do a concert with the London Philharmonic at a big hall in London, big symphony orchestra. So I thought, well, let's do the music from 2001, you know, Kubrick's music from 2001, Thus Spake Zarathustra. Sorry, I've got a new denture in my mouth. I sort of sound like Sean Connery sometimes. It's either I wear this or I've got a bit of a gap, but anyway, more about dentistry later. No, it proved such an amazing success with the audience, to the extent that everybody thought that it wasn't coming out of this. Well, it was, as explained, it was only that bit there. And it wasn't actually mine. I loaned one from a guy called Mike Vickers. Mike Vickers used to play with Manfred Mann. Now, those of you, anybody remember Manfred Mann? Yeah. Okay. There she goes, just walking down the street. Okay. So Mike Vickers was loaned me his instrument, and it went so well with the orchestra, fantastically well with the orchestra. although the audience just thought that it was all tape recorded. They thought that's not coming from that. You know, nobody can get sounds like that at all. So then I formed Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and we had a small budget in which to, in which to buy new instruments. I think Greg wanted a very good superior bass, and Carl wanted a drum kit, and I thought, well, yeah, what I would like is a Moog synthesizer.